Hello, everybody. It's so great to be back with you in LA today. I am absolutely pumped for this session. I think, I know it's been a long day, and well done for turning up for the last and best session on this stage today. This is going to be particularly exciting because, well, first to introduce myself, I head up our Pro Tools division in Canva. So in addition to our main Canva platform, we have a suite of professional tools that take that craft level down to a whole new depth. And we're going to be talking about some new launches today in that professional suite of tools. And then we're going to be getting some reaction from two leading prominent professional creatives. So I'm going to start by introducing our guests here. On my right, we have Jess Hische, who is the founder of Studioworks, as emblazoned on her jacket there, but also a New York Times bestselling author and regularly pulled out in the top 100 lists of creatives and professionals, the Eames Foundation list recently, for example. And then we also have Gordy Sang, who is the co-founder and co-CCO at Quality Meets, which is a fully virtual ad agency that was recently named as the Small Agency of the Year, both by Adweek and Ad Age. So let's have a big round of applause for our guests here. I mean, maybe just to have a couple of words from you each first. So, Jess, I hear that your new book that you're currently working on has been entirely created in Affinity. How was that experience?
It is true. I'm a convert now. I'm on the design advisory board for Canva, which has been an amazing experience of getting to sort of talk to the Canva and Affinity teams about how to make the products, both of them, more friendly towards professional designers. And so the onus was on me to actually give Affinity a go, but it turned out to be like really perfect timing because I was working on a new kids book, and the way that I was working in other software is that I sort of had to mash together a bunch of different processes and nothing could happen all in the same environment. I work primarily in like a vector format, but I really like combining vector with like bitmap and raster textures just to add another layer to my work. And I didn't realize how much of a game changer being able to do that all in one place would be, and that it just really felt like it was custom built for my way of working. So once I designed and illustrated an entire kids book in Affinity, I was officially like, okay, well, never opening other software again.
Amazing. And Gordy, you said yesterday, I mean, I guess you're more on the strategy and team lead side than at the tool phase, but you said you've been playing with Affinity as well.
Yeah, I definitely have recently, opened it up and messed around. And what I did like was the fact that you could pivot from one to the other versus having to worry about the Adobe this and the Adobe that. And then the fact that, like, if I'm away or something like that and I wanted to ask an account person or a strategist to, hey, change the color of this or that, they could then get in there and open it up. It kind of like democratizes that ability to design.
Awesome. Well, we have two Affinity evangelists here on the stage with me, which is great to hear. And just to give you a bit of context there, so our journey into professional tools really accelerated a couple of years ago when we acquired Affinity, which is a long-standing professional-grade design application. And as you were just hearing, fully integrated between editing photos and pixels, editing vectors and illustrations, and laying out page design with all the CMY colors and spot colors and everything else that you would expect from a professional level design application. And last year in October, we took the bold decision to make Affinity fully free for anyone to download. So everyone in the audience, feel free to download Affinity after we finish talking about it today. You can also get it under Canva Enterprise, under SSO. So since we launched that new version of Affinity back in October, we've actually had 5 million downloads of Affinity in those 5 months. So that is pretty amazing and shows that we're seeing a sort of groundswell of change in the professional tooling space. And with all that interest comes increased investment. So we've been accelerating our investment into these professional products. And today, we're going to talk about 4 big launches that are dropping today. and we're going to hear the reaction of Jess and Gordy on those. Now, the first one, I won't dwell on too much because you already heard about it in the main Canva keynote, and that is that the brand system in Canva, also known as the brand kits, are now available inside the Affinity environment. And what that means is that a pro craft designer can quickly construct things like logos and fine-tune photos that are approved for everyone else to use, and then scale them through the brand kit system inside Canva. So really, really exciting change. And Gordy, I mean, you manage a lot of creative people and work with tons of different clients on their brand. How do you think this kind of change is going to impact their work?
Well, I mean, honestly, like, again, going back to the people who aren't yet usually design savvy and being able to have access to this, where, like, you're usually given a brand book or a brand guide and says, don't do this with the logo or don't do this with the font, and people always do this and do the things that you say not to do. And, like, myself originally coming from a design background, art director background, I have an eye of, like, why did you change the font to this or that? And it's just like, it becomes almost like a physical game of telephone in a way, where, like, things just kind of change and become awkward. So what's great about this is that it has the ability to kind of prevent some people from going down that direction, as well as, like, kind of keeping you in line with, like, the brand guides, and, like, being able to pivot from one client to the next and having those different, like, the amount of ways and different guides that you can follow seems really helpful.
Totally, and it very much extends out from the fact that to use Affinity now, you just log in with a Canva account, so it's one account, one system, and extending that breadth down into more depth. So we're going to focus on the other three launches more, because these are the things that are literally being unveiled on this stage right now. So I hope you're ready to make some noise, because these are major new drops into the creative professional landscape. And to give us the first two launches, I'm going to introduce Ella, who is our product lead for professional design.
Woo! Hi, everyone. I'm Ella. I lead product for professional design tools here at Canva. And I'm really excited to take you through our latest Affinity launches for our incredible pro design community. In the age of AI, craft, brand protection, team collaboration, they matter more than ever. But we know that designers are facing increasing pressure to deliver content faster than ever. But many creatives are still spending way too much of their valuable time doing tedious tasks, which is why I'm excited to announce Affinity's new AI connector with Claude. Because AI should support your craft, not get in the way of it. With Affinity's AI connector, you can eliminate manual production tasks like naming the layers in your design file. So here's a pretty typical file. You can see there's a lot going on. Hundreds of layers, all named group, curve, pixel. It's very descriptive. And if you wanted to clean this up properly, you'd have to go through and name and organize everything. And let's be honest, we're not going to do that. Now, instead of doing all of that yourself, AI can take care of it for you. It can go through the document and apply clear, consistent layer names across the entire structure, turning a messy file into something organized and production ready in seconds. But you can also use it to transform your designs. So here's this brochure with hundreds of assets across many pages. And let's say we wanted to make a change, such as adjusting the tone of the images, and we want this to be applied consistently across the whole document. Well, as you can see here, we could actually use AI. So applying edits non-destructively across all of them at once. Instead of working page by page, you're making the change everywhere in seconds. And in this third example, we're going to go even further. Because with Affinity's AI connector, we can make entirely new features with their own interface. So here we have our prompt to create a pattern generator with adjustable parameters. Let's watch Claude do its thing. And now, the interface that you're seeing here in the Affinity app has been dynamically created by the AI connector. And you can even save it to your library in Affinity, ready to reuse whenever you need it. So there you have it, true AI automation, so your creatives can focus on actual creativity.
Amazing. Thank you, Ella. I'm going to ask you to stay there for a moment and get a bit of reaction on this. I mean, Jess, you work at the tools every day, and so how does this land with you, these kind of automations?
Well, one other thing that I can say, if I sort of like zoom out about the relationship of Affinity to AI, is that and I don't feel like we've discussed this before, but I feel like the relationship is based on consent. Like, I feel like there's a lot of programs where you go into the program and it's like, AI, do this in AI, do this in AI, and it's like there's no way around it. And so your relationship with the AI is based on this like fear of like, I have to do this or it's going to be bad for me. And I feel like my experience with Affinity in general has been like we made this for you in case you want it. It's right over here. So then your relationship is more based on like curiosity. And what I hear from creatives all the time is like, I don't want AI to do my work for me. I want it to do my laundry for me. And I feel like there's just always so many good practical examples that the team is doing that is like, let us do your laundry for you because we don't want you to not be a creative, you know, and that's really nice. And I feel like even just seeing these things today, I can instantly see like all of the do my laundry tasks that I would use it for versus like, I definitely still want to do my creative minutia myself. You cannot take it away from me. Yeah.
Okay, I think we have a new brand for our AI tool around laundry there. Gordy, I mean, you manage a lot of creatives, so I guess for you, something like this is partly about making sure that they are happy and productive and being efficient as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to pick up the laundry metaphor because, like, I'm a sloppy person. I throw my laundry on the floor. I'm building layers upon layers. Oh, let's duplicate that one. It's just slop. It's completely.
I call that the strata of laundry,
exactly.
where you can go through the strata and remember where you were 2 weeks ago.
Right. Yeah. No, my laundry is just on the floor in the corner. My wife hates me, but same goes with how I build my layers, literally and figuratively. So the ability to clean that laundry and fold the laundry, that's the hardest part. The cleaning is easy. I don't know why I'm going into a laundry thing, but the folding is the hardest part, and I don't want to fold my laundry. So at the end of the day, if it's able to fold my laundry and organize my layers or resize, do the tedious work, then that's a huge benefit. So I could, again, like to your point, focus on the fun, creative parts and have that do kind of a little bit of the dirty work.
Yeah, and it's a great response from both of you. I mean, I think that what you said, Jess, really chimes with how we've deliberately tried to roll out AI in Affinity, which is very much as an opt-in. Like, you can use it with no AI at all if you like, but actually the value of this laundry layer is so great that I think we're going to see a huge amount of adoption.
Yeah, and I think because AI can do so much and it works in so many different ways, that it's actually so much better when you can approach it from like figuring out how it works for you instead of following someone else's framework.
Yep.
And I think that there's like a lot of opportunities for that in how it's integrated into the product.
And no matter what, even if you use AI, you're always going to bring your own craft element to it. It's not like that's the finished product. I might start with AI and it'll give me like a Kickstarter, or it might give me an idea or direction, and I can craft it myself. So like even if it misses the mark of what I was trying to do, I can go back in and refine. So it gives you like just like a head start sometimes.
Totally, and actually that's what I think is one of the most exciting things that you were talking about, Ella, was the way that when these bulk edits are applied, it's actually doing non-destructive edits in the way that a professional designer would, so that you can go and tweak. But let's move on to the next one. Don't want to keep you standing all day. So, Ella, what's next up?
Okay. This next launch reflects that Affinity is quickly becoming a new standard file format for creative workflows. So that as we've now made it possible for other professional work tools to integrate with Affinity. Introducing Pro video and photo integrations with DaVinci Resolve and Capture One. Now you can craft your assets in Affinity and drop them straight into the DaVinci Resolve timeline with your layers intact. And as you refine them in Affinity, they can update in real time with continuous export. That is pretty incredible. And for the pro photographers, you can now export directly from Capture One into Affinity for fine retouching. This end-to-end workflow gives photographers and retouchers a faster path from image management to precision editing, bringing over all of your layers, guides, masks, annotations, and more. Then, of course, you can upload to Canva to show clients your work. So there you have it, new integrations and connections with DaVinci Resolve and Capture One. Back over to you, Duncan.
Amazing. Thank you, Ella. Let's have a round of applause for Ella. She leaves the stage. So, Gordy, let's get a reaction from you on this one first. I mean, I guess the industry has been dominated by certain incumbent tools for so long, but with Affinity on the rise and this new family of integrations like we just heard about, do you think we're starting to see the status quo shift?
Yeah, I mean, like I guess I go back to is just like the ability to pass things along from one pro to another. Like whatever your skill set, like if you're doing focus on video versus, making the flat Photoshop, which is the old bad ways of doing things. Now more in the Affinity way, like you have to have that back and forth. And so it's like, oh, hey, will you update that file and then email it to me so I can get it in there, where you can update it and it'll instantly go in there. And just that kind of like seamlessness seems like intuitive, and why wouldn't you want all of the things in one house?
Totally. Yeah. How about you, Jess? I mean, with all these different tools speaking together, do you see any sort of evolution or breakdown between the silos between the different disciplines?
Yeah, I mean, with almost all previous situations, you'd have to export like a specific file format to be able to open in this thing over here, because everybody was really proprietary and closed off and like really just gatekeepy about what environment the files were allowed to exist in. So the more integrations there are like this, where it just feels like you actually own your work and can be the one to take it wherever you want it to go, is amazing. And I think like it just also shows the confidence of the team, because when you don't build a gate around the stuff to protect people from going somewhere else, that shows the confidence that people should stay there because it's worth staying there, not because you've trapped them.
Right.
So I think that that's like the funnest thing about all of this, is just this idea that like Canva and the Affinity team can let you own your work and take it anywhere you want, because they want you to be there because you want to be there, not because you're trapped there.
Right, totally. And in fact, these two integrations are the first of many that will come, because they are built on top of a new way that we've built that allows other tools to read and understand Affinity files so that they can export it, for example.
But I also think it like opens the door for people who don't like, if somebody was like, I only mess around with vector stuff and I don't really mess around with Photoshop. But now that they're both in a singular house where I don't have to pivot from one program to another, it's like, I could just click over here and just mess around and see how it works and figure it out. It opens the door to you figuring out new tools and ways to work. So like an editor could figure out how to work with Photoshop even though they had never done it before.
Totally.
Not Photoshop.
So we've got the fourth and arguably most exciting launch of the day, and I'm going to hand over to Chris to take us through it.
Thank you, Duncan. Hi, everyone. Wow, it's really, really good to be here, and I'm very excited to be able to share our latest updates with you today. So we've already looked at several amazing new professional features, and there's still one thing that's been a huge missing piece, though, and that is motion. If you think about the brands you admire right now, the chances are they're in motion. And it might be a logo that animates on entry, or a campaign that lives on screen as much as it does in print. And motion is just a huge part of everything that you see on screens that we interact with every day. And it really isn't just a nice to have anymore. It's the difference between a brand that feels alive and one that stands still. And that's why we've created Cavalry, a professional motion tool trusted by leading brands and studios to create expressive, high-quality motion as a system that can also scale to handle versioning, multiple aspect ratios, language translations, and much more. And in February, we were very, very proud to announce that Cavalry had joined the Canva family, with the ambition to make Cavalry the new standard for professional motion design. So I'm really excited. Thank you. Really excited to announce a major development on that journey. From today, Cavalry is now entirely look at that timing. Free. Yes, that's right. From today, you can download Cavalry and log in with your Canva account and access all of Cavalry's motion tools and features. And then just like Affinity, individuals can use Cavalry for free or access it under SSO via a Canva Enterprise account. So together with Affinity, Cavalry completes a professional stack that now spans design, vector work, layout, and of course motion, with Canva connecting it all so creatives can move seamlessly from deep craft work through to collaboration and distribution at scale. Thank you, Duncan. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Chris. Let's hear it for Chris. Also, just a round of applause for the incredible small team that has built Cavalry. We're continually mind-blown by what they've managed to produce here, and we're thrilled to have it in the Canva family. So obviously it becoming free is a major milestone, building on top of what we did with Affinity last year. So maybe to hear from you, Jess, I know you were particularly excited when you heard about the Cavalry acquisition and said you were going to get some live training from Chris. So tell us a little bit about your feelings about how this helps us evolve.
Yeah, me and Chris are going to do a workshop where he teaches me how to do motion work. So I'm excited for that. No, I'm a still image girly. I love still images and appreciate still images, but you can't deny the power of the moving image.
Yep.
I think the clearest example for me was with my first kids book, I pulled in all of my favors, and one of the favors was working with the Motion Studio Oddfellows because I had done a logo for them, and so they owed me motion work as a part of it, and they made me a little trailer for my book. And when my kids saw the trailer, who were just totally jaded by the whole idea of me writing a book and were like, rolling their eyes, they were like, oh, you mean it's a movie too? And then so the motion 2-minute trailer was what got a ton of people on my book tour to be like multimedia experience. And so now I'm like, okay, I guess when things move around, they're compelling. And so I've been really excited to try to learn motion, but I feel like I'm so intimidated as a process because it feels like a lot of programs that I've tried to use before, not Cavalry, have been tough to get into. And so this idea that I have this free thing and then I can noodle around and make my little logos shimmy for Instagram, that sounds great.
Awesome. Well, I very much look forward to seeing the Jess Hische Motion Edition. I mean, certainly what you were just saying fits with something we've seen on another part of our professional stack, which is Flourish, the data visualization tool, where we've just seen that people respond so much to things that move in general. I think it's really hardwired into the human brain, looking out on the horizon for predators or something like that, because we just follow things that move. Are you seeing that, Gordy, in your work around just the growing importance of motion inside brands?
Yeah, I mean, like, in general, just like anything visual, you're more attracted to in some ways. Like, you can blabber on, but if you put that together in a pretty picture way, you're paying more attention. Now, you put it together in a pretty picture way with some movement, we all have short attention spans, the more things that are shoved in front of our faces. So, like, oh, it moves too, will capture my attention even more. And I think it's easier to storytell, change things up, not become kind of like same, flipping through slides over and over. And it just brings, kicks in some life to a product. Is always helpful.
Well, we're super excited about it. And it feels like it's now, I mean, as Chris alluded to there, it feels like we actually genuinely have a full suite of professional tools now that take this craft level of depth down from the Canva platform for these more specialist use cases. So we've gone through most of the launches. Maybe just in order to wrap up, I'm going to ask each of you, what are you particularly excited about? What are you walking away from here with a spring in your step about?
Oh man, it's tough. I want that Claude MCP for Cavalry for one thing. So let's see when that happens. I'm actually really excited about the brand stuff in Affinity because even though I'm just one person and I work for myself, I actually use the brand kits in Canva quite a bit because I am very OG on social media where like I kind of miss when we were just posting photos of brunch and shoes and stuff. But I admit that you have to show up looking like you have it together on the internet. And so now I'm using Canva to make my social media assets, and it's made it so much easier. So I use brand kits all the time for myself, just as an individual, to make that stuff, and also for presentations and workshops and things like that. So just now that it's way easier for me to make a bunch of little assets for myself, pop it right into my brand kit, my personal me time brand kit. I'm gonna do that as soon as I get home. So.
Awesome. And how about you, Gordy?
I mean, I go back to the physical game of telephone and seeing that some things kind of devolve as we pass it around from one, kind of, whether it's from creative to strategy to account, and we see things just kind of fall out of place and get a little sloppy, and being able to kind of rein in on that and prevent that is great, and giving other people the ability to do it, not where it's like, oh, the account person has to hit the creative person to make a change, where they can just dive in and kind of change something because it's accessible, which is really exciting. And then the other thing is like, what I'm most intrigued with how Canva is positioning all this is it's not like trying to make its own proprietary elements. It's partnering with tools that we're already using and bringing it all under one roof. And it's like, what makes the best possible product versus like, here's our version of motion design that you have to use, even though it's not as good as the other one. It's a more mediocre version. They're just, finding the best possible tools and bringing them all together.
Totally.
I think too, just one last thing in terms of the kind of Claude integration and being able to build your own tools within Affinity. Like one of the things that really lit me up about Affinity when I first started using it is this idea that you can curate your environment in Affinity to be exactly the space and the tools that you want. Because the idea of let's just throw it all together in one program. Like if a certain other software company had done that, which they have done in the past, it did not go so well. And so I was a little hesitant, but just knowing that I could make this calm and quiet place that has all the things that I need and want, and now could potentially even make really specific tools to do the really specific stuff that I want to do, which I would have always been told is like an edge case and would never be built into the actual product. Now all of us edge cases can make all of our perfect things that we want, and that's what is being a creative other than being an edge case for literally everything in your life.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's been so fun for the last few weeks, and this product's been built so fast, the MCP connector, building on top of work that's been going on for years. And it's been so fun watching everyone on the team just come up with new ideas, not only for what you could do with it, but for new features that it could create on the fly for you. And in fact, the ones you're seeing on the screen there, I think it was an example from Neil, who's I can see at the back there, who's really led the charge on this. So amazing to just imagine all the possibilities of a tool that can extend just with your imagination. So with that, we're going to call it a wrap. We have a lot of information dropping this week as well. We've got a whole new set of Affinity introductory guides for anyone who wants to get started. We've got stuff like Made with James. You've probably seen James on the stages here today. I think he's in the audience as well, which will, oh look, it's moving around in real time here. So there's a big suite of resources. We'd love you to go and download them, dive in, tell us what you think. We want your feedback. We want to know how you are finding these new launches, and we can't wait to see what you do with them all. Thank you all for coming.